Okay, good evening, sister girls, and I am so happy to have you here with me for another monthly book chat. This evening, I am speaking with Ayelle Burke about her novel, Sir. Good evening, Ayelle. Thank you for joining us.
How are you guys doing? No problem, and thank you for having me.
Before we jump into the questions, and while we have people hopefully logging on to join us, and if not, if you're watching this at a later date, while from the recording, you can still leave comments and questions, and we'll try to get back to you. But while we are warming up, let's get started with a few icebreaker questions.
Sure.
Okay, question one: water, wine, coffee, or tea?
Probably coffee.
Okay, 1 second. Said we're not live in the Facebook group. Let me see.
Okay.
Okay. Morning or night?
Uh, okay. Morning, I guess.
Okay. Digital or print?
I like digital,
Okay.
but I understand why print is needed.
Standalone or series?
Standalone,
Okay. Music or quiet?
quiet.
Okay. So that wasn't too bad, right?
No.
So we do have, it looks like we have some people who joined us. Please pop in the chat, say hello, ask your questions, and we'll try to incorporate them into the chat. So, question number one: where are you from? And when you're not writing, what do you like to do?
So I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and when I'm not writing, I normally read, but if I'm not reading, I also play the game, mainly like PS5. And I'm like a Grand Theft Auto and Ghost Recon person. And I know I just told
Interesting
somebody this.
hobby.
I know I just told somebody when Grand Theft Auto comes out, y'all may not see me for like a month.
Okay. So, when you are reading, what do you like to read? And if you can, suggest three must read books to our sister girls.
Um, so I mainly read romance. I like get off into fantasy. I'm not really a fantasy person, but I do like to read it. Um, but anything Alexandria House drops, Love Melvin drops, or Christina C. Jones, Rayleigh, I like her, and Ashley Nicole, anything from them. Like literally, you can pick up any book from them and
Okay.
you'll love it.
All right. Any specific books or series that you absolutely feel like people must read?
So, probably my favorite series is Love Melvin's The Muted series. I'm always going to recommend that to anybody.
Okay. I had to go back in my brain. That was me doing a Rolodex of which series that was because I
That's
just
the one
felt
with Ashton and Tori, the
that
boxer and
that one tore my heart out because
yeah.
I did not foresee where that was going. And when we got to like I was like, Ashley a terrible person. The ex-wife that he has daughters with is a terrible person. I'm
Right.
glad Tori got away from them. And then she wrapped that one up, and how I felt about Ashton after like book two, definitely a gut wrenching
Yes, I know.
turn of events for that one. So definitely a good series. What inspired you to want to become an author yourself?
Um, so it's crazy because up until probably about 2020, I was a casual reader. So it's probably me just joining back into like discovering like black romance and like the indie authors and just like the black romance space. I didn't realize how big it was and how it was thriving. And when I like discovered Alexandria House, and then I went down like a rabbit hole, and I just started reading everything from everybody. And then I discovered Christina C. Jones and her YouTube channel, and I saw that she made content for aspiring writers, and she like literally inspired me to also write our stories because it was just fascinating to actually read a story that's like about us, about our struggles, just with our vernacular, just with everything about Black people. I couldn't believe it because, like I said, up until 2020, I was a casual reader, and then I also didn't really read a lot of Black indie authors. I didn't even really know it existed.
That, that's amazing. It looks like we have some people joining us. Please pop into the chat, say hi, extra questions, interact. We will be sure to thread your questions and your inquiries into the chat. Say hi. We want to talk to you as much as we want to talk to everyone else. Okay. So that's amazing. I think that's just such an amazing story. And it's beautiful because it can be very, some people can feel very discouraged because how vast this
Hmm.
independent author, Black independent author universe has become. And so I'm glad to hear the opposite, that instead of scaring you, it inspired you. That's beautiful.
It did.
So
I mean, I love all those people.
when you became an author, what made you want to include erotica in your genres? And what made you want to write a series that explores the BDSM lifestyle?
So I didn't necessarily go into it with the thought process of that, oh, I think I'm gonna write erotica or I'm gonna write about BDSM. So I'm such a mood reader. And at the time, before I actually decided I was gonna write anything, I had already made up in my mind that I wanted to write something. I just didn't know what I was gonna do. But at the time, I was reading every single Black author written BDSM book. I was like that was like what I was in the mood for. And I literally ran out of books that I knew of. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna write a book about it. And that's how um, King came to me. That's how I ended up writing the
Could you
story with
share
King.
any of the books that you read prior to, like, when you were in that mood of reading a lot of BDSM? And I ask because there seems to be like, it'll be an influx of BDSM
Mhm.
books, and then it'll go away. And then readers will start saying, I want more BDSM, I want more dark romance, I want more, and it'll be an influx and then it'll go away. As somebody who has been reading for over 20 years, who has been reading BDSM and dark
Mhm.
romance for a long time, like I, right after, for me, right after Fly Girl, Coldest Winter Ever, True to the Game, I went straight into Zane books. And I think I was 14 and I'm in my 30s. And it was like, I probably should be reading this. I probably should not be reading this.
So I think one of the first ones that I read, like as I was coming back in, was Love Belvin's the Bonded with Ezra series. I don't know if you've ever read
Mhm.
that one, but I read that one.
Everybody love the
And
kinky pastor.
yes,
Makes me wonder
yes,
what it makes me wonder what's going on. But people love the kinky pastor.
yep.
I
And
don't know that morally gray area that people like or what.
I know I love them, but I've read okay, is it India Carter's was her other pen name? I
Indian
can't
North
think of
Sea.
it. I can't think of the name of the book.
And
I think it's Miss J
Miss
is her pen
J,
name. Yeah.
Saved by a Billionaire.
Uh, not that one. It's the one she wrote before that one. It's like the
Oh,
lady and she got like I can't think of the name of that
I
one. I
know which
read
one.
that one.
I know which one you're talking about, where he was married and then he moves her.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not much I haven't read.
Yeah. So I
I
can't
can't think
think
of
of
the name of
all of them,
what you're
but
talking about.
I was running through them.
Okay. So, how much after you read and was running through it, and that was your mood? How much research goes into these books, and why do you feel it is important to write about this lifestyle with care and caution?
Well, so for me, a lot of research went into it. I was Um, I was reading articles about it and just like looking at people who are actually actively into the lifestyle. I was in the Reddit community and the Dom sub community asking questions about just just different things about the lifestyle because in my mind I want to depict it in the way that it actually is and not like something that I've just made up in my brain of what I think it should be. And I think a lot of times when people hear the word BDSM, they automatically think like toxic or abuse or like trauma. And I just did not want that to be something that I wrote about. I wanted to be true to like what it actually is. It's actually a lifestyle choice, and it's something that could be anybody, like your neighbor or the cashier at the grocery store or your bank teller. It can literally be anybody. Anybody can have kinks. So I just wanted to depict that in a way that was not harmful.
And you know what I think? I think everybody's into the BDSM lifestyle just at different levels because everybody has a kink. Everybody has
Exactly.
something that turns them on. Everybody has something that sends their elevator all the way to the top. But you have to be more open minded and explorative to figure out what that is.
Exactly. And I think it's one of those things that can be as vanilla as you want it or as like out of control as you want it to be.
But don't you just love the internet? How now we can go do this research and it's just from like the privacy of our own device, like literally all you
Yes.
need is a cell phone, and you can just find out so much stuff. And I am always so amazed at how much people are willing to share, not just in the BDSM lifestyle, but just
Right.
in general. Like how like they're like how much people are willing to share and how much you don't know if you don't ask or go looking for it.
Right. Right. I
Because
mean, because I was gonna say I literally went down a rabbit hole of on TikTok of talk her through it, just because I just so you can get ideas and stuff. And people are on there they tell everything. Okay,
I think have you because have you been on 403 TikTok?
I have not, but I will get on there because
Baby, baby. The girls are spilling all the beads. I was like,
really
let me tell you, okay? Talk about a rabbit hole that I don't even know how I ended up. It's like
right.
one video, it was on my For You page, and I was like,
Yep, I feel that.
but I did see some of the talk him through it videos recently, like as recent as last week, and I was like, oh, the girls are creative.
Yep,
The girls
apparently.
are they are wordsmiths. They are
Yeah.
ego strokers, okay?
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
girls are creative and I like it. I was like, okay. Um, but I think that is very beautifully said because I do think that there is a stigma around this particular community, especially those who are more outward informing about their participation in it.
Right.
And I think it's important. I understand that it's a niche that has a large readership, but
Right.
I personally feel like if you're going to do it well. Even if you're
I
not a
agree.
part of it, do it well because if not, you're adding to the stereotypes.
Right. Right. I agree. And I think that was one of the reasons why in the book, sir, one of the reasons he like addressed it. It was one of the things he had to address was like, well, it's only gonna be what we make it, and it's gonna be as vanilla or as not vanilla as we want it to be. It's not whatever you have made up in your mind. That's not what this lifestyle is about.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for joining us. Although you haven't read, maybe listening to the chat will influence you to want to read. So thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, so before we get into the details of Sir, King was the first book I read by you. It was suggested to me via Facebook ads, which I am happy about. Do you think you're reaching the correct audience?
Uh, I do. Um, So the way I do my targeting is I target people who like similar pages as my own, which is helpful because like even though the black romance like community is large, it's still kind of like it seems small when you are like targeting people because we all follow like some of the same creators, some of the same authors. I mean, just because you like one author doesn't mean that you're not gonna like this other author, and vice versa with the content creators. So I try to target the people who read the type of books that I write and other authors that are similar to me.
When I saw
So
it, I was like, because it was like full novel now on Kindle Unlimited. And I
mhm,
was like, and it said King, and then the cover was very mysterious. Like I love covers where it's not like a face, where it's just like,
mhm.
because it's just a what's this,
Yep,
a bust. And I was
yep.
like, oh, let me go see what this is about. And then I was like, oh, eroticism, BDSM. Oh, let me download a sample. And then King went by so fast, and I was like,
Yeah, I know. Cause okay, so King was only 50,000 words, and I thought Sir would end up being 50,000 words, but it ended up being like 90,000 words. But that's just what the
yeah,
story ended
King
up
went by
being.
so fast, and I was like, well, damn it, I just got here. Then it was like read next, and I was like, oh, there's more, and I was like, okay, I like this. So we get a peek into Sailor in her brother's book King.
Hmm.
What compelled you to take a deeper dive into her story and her relationship with Malik?
So there's a scene in King where Malik basically is over there hemming her up in the corner, and they having a little rift or whatever. And like the audience, me, I don't even know what this like argument is about, but I know Kate asked her what it was about, and she kind of just brushed him off. And like while I'm writing this scene, the whole time I'm thinking, well, I wonder what she mad at him for. I wonder why she won't give him a chance. I wonder. I think we need to explore that,
Okay.
And then we find out that they've been having lunch and stuff together, and I just thought, I think she need. I think they need a story. We need to know why. Like, what is his issue? What? Why she won't give him a chance? Why is she being cagey?
Okay. A good that was a good segue. Like that was a nice, because I was like, I just Sailor didn't really her care. I guess I was just so engrossed in the main characters that didn't
Mhm.
even come to me. But then when it was like, oh, this is Sailor's book, I was like, I'll give it a chance, because like I said, King was my first introduction to you. So I was like, I like your writing style enough that I'm willing to see where this next part goes. And boy, am I glad I did, because what I will say is what I really truly enjoyed about Sir is that it had a great balance of romance, angst, and eroticism, and just enough drama.
Mhm.
I was like, okay. So I'm very happy and pleased with the fact that I continue. And clearly, I'm so pleased that I said I have to talk to this author. I have to get in her head. We gotta chat it out. Okay. So, Sailor, she's familiar with BDSM. She owns a club, but she is adamant that that part of the club is strictly her brother's venture. And
Right.
I want to get into detail about this, because as I was doing some research for questions, it was like I did see a comment. It was like, I can't believe Sailor was so against the lifestyle when she has a whole club. And I said, I think the author did a very good job. This was my response to that review. The author did a very good job of giving us a viewpoint from Sailor's perspective that she barely even went upstairs. She did
Right.
not know what was going on. That was just not her. She said, I'm not a professional. This is not my thing. He's the professional. He's been in this lifestyle. I'm going to let him handle this part. I'm an operations person. So I don't need to be
Right.
upstairs in the day to day to look at numbers and I'm an operations person. I can look
Right.
at the numbers and the accounts and all of this and tell you if it's worth investing into or not. I don't have to be in it.
Right. And that's basically how she felt about that. I think she also approached. She probably had a stigma about like what it is because as she told Malik even in the book, is that this stuff doesn't look very pleasing to me. When I do go upstairs, all I see is X, Y, and Z, and people on chains and them talking crazy to them or just whatever their kink may be. It just didn't sound very pleasing to her. So of course she's like, I mean, it's not for me, and I don't have to go up there. And then just me personally, as like outside the author, I own a business with my brother, and he do one thing and I do the other. I don't have to be in like he's an expert at like content creation and doing all that. I don't get off into all that because I'm not. It's not my thing. So I could see how Sailor would be like, well, as long as you deal with upstairs, I deal with everything else. And so that's kind of how she approached that working relationship with her brother, and that's how she just approached the upstairs part of that of their business. As long as they were thriving and the numbers match, you do what you do, I do what I do.
Come on. Yeah, that's how I felt too. Um, so I'm sorry, my dog just came in the room.
Oh, that's okay.
You probably can hear him running. Um, so that was Sailor, and that was the thing. And I was like, that was Sailor's mindset, and I felt like you did an excellent job at introducing the readers to Sailor's mindset. And I was like, I don't understand why you would feel like she wouldn't know if
Yeah.
you're so. I'm gonna take a pause, a little pin in my questions because Wendy asked an awesome question. So let's get this on the
Okay.
screen. How does Sir compare to other works in this genre? And did you aim to differentiate in any way? And did any of your characters evolve differently than you initially planned?
Um. So I would just say that my goal for Sir was for him to be well rounded, and I didn't want it to be all about the sex club or all about Sailor. Like I wanted to depict what an actual relationship looks like for somebody in the BDSM who is actively participating it in their whole life in their lifestyle. Like the whole lifestyle is revolving around BDSM. So I that was my goal when I wrote them and wrote Malik. I wanted him to be just that dude. I mean, I don't really know, and I don't know how he compares to others. And what was that? I can't read the small print. What was the last part of that question?
The last part of the question was, did any of your characters evolve differently than you initially planned?
I wouldn't say evolve differently, but they all. I'm just gonna tell you, they always do something that I didn't plan for them to do. Like I don't know if they evolved like completely different and went completely off the rails. But sometimes in my mind, I'll be like, oh, I think this would be a perfect scene, and then it just doesn't really work out because it just doesn't fit him or it doesn't fit the sailor. It didn't fit him, and I probably changed a bunch of stuff like as I was writing because if you know, I released this also on Bella, so it was chapter by chapter. I hope that answered that question.
No, I think you did an excellent job answering that question. But now that we're talking about Malik, Malik is a dominant man in and out the bedroom,
Hmm.
commanding but accommodating, protective, business savvy, and creative, as he is a chef and business owner. What was your inspiration for this multifaceted character?
Um, well, like I said, I really wanted a person who you can be like, oh, that's my neighbor, or I know him. That's the guy that owns the restaurant down the street. I just wanted him to be a normal guy who had kinks. That was my main thing. I wanted him to just be just a normal. Like if you met him on the street, you wouldn't be like, oh, he's into BDSM. No, that's just Malik. Bradshaw. That's just him. And he's the person that owns this restaurant. But his personality is just dominant. He's just a dominant man who know what he wants. And he's not gonna let anybody run over him. Like as you can see, he told Sailor even from the beginning that like I'm listen, I'll I'll do whatever you want me to do, but and I'll give you all the space you want me to give you, but what I won't do is let you run me. And if you want to wait, that's fine, but I'm not going to wait. And when you put me first or choose me, that's when we can move forward. So I just wanted a person that was firm but fair, nice, nice to his girlfriend. I didn't want someone that was going to be mean. Um, because I know you see that sometimes um in the BDSM books that you get a mean MMC. I didn't want that. I just wanted
Yeah,
him to be a
grumpy,
normal guy.
grumpy sunshine troop.
Do what?
It's called the Grumpy Sunshine's
Yeah, the
troop.
grumpy shirt.
So the
Hmm.
guy is grumpy and the girl's the sunshine. And
Right.
he was so that actually leads to my next question, because Malik was very family oriented and he was a man of morale. Like he was very morale based, which I love. Like he had his standard and he said, this is my standards and this is how I operate, and I'm not allowing anybody to sway me to operate differently no matter the
Right.
circumstances. Which was interesting because we um we meet Malik and we get to know him before this huge dilemma of drama is developed.
Right.
And Sailor's dilemma was huge. Like, do I tell this man that I'm falling in love with that I was the mistress by accident to his cousin,
Right.
who's more like his sister? And it's like, was Sailor being a runner? Sailor was a runner. She was a track star. Okay.
She was.
Was her actions justifiable? Because she didn't even have a
Okay.
conversation with the man. I was like, God damn, Sailor, tell him. Just say something. She said,
So,
block, delete, goodbye, done. I said, damn.
oh my gosh. So listen, did she have to be a runner? Probably not. I mean, I don't think that anybody who was not in that situation and from the outside looking in probably would be like, I mean, why are you running? Why you just don't go communicate with them? That's what a normal person would do. But I kind of approached her character and just that particular situation of like what a irrational person in that situation would do.
Very,
Like a
very irrational.
irrational person is gonna be like, I'm not dealing with that. So I'm just gonna exit stage left, and y'all can have that. I'm not gonna even talk to him about it. I'm just because in my mind I felt like she didn't want to ask him to choose. Like,
That's
how
what
do
I
you?
was thinking. And that's exactly my irrational fear as
Yeah,
somebody who has some issues would have been like, if he don't choose me, I might crash out. Like
exactly.
this might be,
So
this might be my 13th reason. Like,
that's what I'm that's what I'm saying. So like I felt like if he don't choose her, if she asks him to choose and he chooses his cousin, then now she really is just gonna crash out and feel like, well, I knew I shouldn't have gave this ninja a chance. You know what I'm saying?
was going
Or
real sexy to murder mystery very fast.
exactly. And so instead of just asking him to choose, and then he does, and then if he chooses her, then now she feels guilty because now she know he's family oriented. She knows this about him. She was there with the conversations, early morning when they have their morning conversation or whatever, and she don't want to be the person that comes between the cousins. So in her mind, she's I'm just gonna leave, and you can just deal with it.
So let's get down to the dilemma, okay? Because I understand where Stella. I had to ask the question because some people wouldn't understand where Stella was coming from. Me
Right.
myself, I'm a sailor kind of girl, baby. I'm not. I don't have drama in my life. So if you thought I was finna allow, we're done. We're done.
Exactly.
I don't care how many bad days I got to go on. We're done. Okay. This is my issue. I personally feel like Shannon was manipulative and she allowed
Mhm.
Malik to get deeper into his relationship with Sailor. And I'm going to pinpoint exactly why. This is my thesis, and here are my here is my evidence. The second conversation, the second time Sailor spends the night at Malik's house, he
Mhm.
leaves Sailor at his home and he goes to meet up with Shannon at the restaurant. They're on
Right.
the phone. And I went back to make sure I wasn't tripping because I was like,
Right.
did he mention her by name?
He did.
And he mentioned Sailor by Shannon, you're manipulative. You are truly a psychopath and you need help. And after I went back for my reread to write my questions, I said my empathy at that moment, my empathy for Shannon completely diminished. Because why would you let your cousin, if y'all supposed to be so close and he's supposed to be the person who got you out of this relationship, why would you allow your cousin to fall deeper in love with somebody you consider your nemesis? You're truly, when he read her for filth, baby, I couldn't even feel bad for her because why in the world is we're black? Ain't that many sailors in the world? The city is this big. Don't
Exactly. Right. Right. So this one, I also, so when I was writing the scene, I kind of approached it as her being kind of naive because, like, I same thing. Like, how many sailors are there? So I feel like she knew, but I feel like she didn't want to accept it. I don't think she wanted to accept that her favorite cousin, will actually date the woman who ruined her life.
but he didn't know. How was he supposed to
I
know?
know.
That was the prom. Okay, control. I did have empathy for Shannon. I did because I am a woman first. I always tell people before I am anything, I am a woman. And the things
Mhm.
that we experience at the cost of loving somebody can sometimes be very detrimental.
Mhm.
I always go into things as a woman first. But after some time, I was like, oh no, she's just being simple minded
Yeah.
because I feel like that was the perfect opportunity to say, even if you're let me get my thoughts together. Hold on. Because it really upset me. And it upset me and my friends, the friends in my head. Okay. We were discussing this in at nauseum. Okay. Me and the friends in my head. We had to discuss this. Here's what my issue with Shannon is. It's not like Malik didn't know the situation that you were coming out of. He
Right.
had been very empathetic, sympathetic. He helped you. He was helping you get back on your feet. You had told him all your worst nightmares and you know all of the worst of the worst.
Right.
You could have simply said, "Hey, not trying to throw a wrench in your relationship, but Sailor is the woman who I don't even remember. Yes, had
Listen.
an affair with." And that would have given Malik an opportunity. I guess you had to do it the way you did it because Malik is so rational. He would have had a conversation with Sailor,
Right.
and then we wouldn't have had the push pull in the relationship.
Right. But I agree. But I also just think that um Shani, I just think that she was just. I don't think that she believed it. I just think that she thought it's got to be somebody else named Sailor. It's got to be somebody else named Sailor because there's no way my cousin would date somebody named Sailor. That was the Sailor that ruined my relationship.
And
And I
he
feel like
didn't.
she could have, right, and I feel like she could have asked, but she didn't. I just think she was just naive and just let it go under the, just
But she
let it
wasn't.
go.
I can't give her the naive card because she wasn't so naive to not go down to that club and show her
You right.
black behind.
She
Naive
did do that.
people don't do that. And that's why I
Mm-mm.
say she wasn't naive, she was manipulative.
Yeah.
Because in my thinking, it's more so she she said, "Oh, this is me because I'm just a person who got to take the story to a whole nother level. In my mind, I know people like Shani. She said,
Yeah,
"Oh, you were responsible for my misery. Oop,
yeah,
my turn."
yeah. And I would not put that past her because she, I mean, if you can see it towards the end, she feels like she owes Sailor something. Like she just does not like her at all because
Women
that
like that
woman,
make my stomach hurt because
yeah,
once Sailor offered to have a adult conversation with you to give her her perspective, I could see if Sailor was being hidden, people didn't know. This man not only was still pursuing her to the
right,
very last end of the book, was still pursuing her. They were in a very public relationship,
right,
taking her to friends' house. Baby, why you don't got all this beef with your mutual friends?
right.
Why you don't have all this beef with the people who this man was publicly dating this woman because you were a town over in La La Land. Do 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 do. This
Right.
man had a whole nother home, a whole nother facility where
And
are
and
you
and that's
okay?
she's
Are we?
not.
And then I
And that
realized she's not okay. And
she's
but you
not.
know what? It's so many women like that, and it breaks my heart because, like I said, I approach everything as a woman from a woman first perspective because
Mhm.
I really be wanting us to give each other a fair shot. Because as somebody who's been gaslighted, manipulated, lied to,
Mhm.
and then again, if you on TikTok and you see the stories that I see, baby, whoo wee, they be
Right.
y'all
Right.
be getting dragged by your edges.
Right. And she wants to blame everybody but the person that's actually the person that fault it is. It's like Yaz's fault and not anybody else's, but she doesn't see that. And I think that clouded her judgment just about everything because I think she was just so in love with a man who did not want her.
Mm. So I'm gonna ask you and ask those participating in the chat. Even though there's no love for Shani in the chat, Shani was a hot mess. She was a hot mess, baby. Was it fair that she was cut off from Malik and he created that boundary, even though Sailor gave them both an opportunity to say, we can all sit down, get everything out on the table to protect and prioritize his relationship with Sailor. He said, no, thank you. Is that fair?
Okay.
This is your cousin, you 30 deep in. Like you say this more like your sister. This your business partner. This is your ace boon coon. Family dinners is tense, baby.
So was it fair?
More than fair.
Probably it was not fair. Probably it probably was not fair. But I feel like sometimes just in life you have to put a boundary. It doesn't matter that it's your favorite cousin, your brother, your sister, your best friend. If someone is a habitual line stepper, sometimes you just have to put that boundary up because they just don't get it. They don't understand it. They don't respect it. They say they love you, but do they really? I mean, because like it was a simple conversation. We could have had a simple conversation. We could have got this out in the open. And he even told her, listen, I don't expect you to be her best friend. What I expect is respect. She couldn't even do that. She couldn't even be bothered to do that. So, was it fair? Probably not. Was it a necessity? I would say yes, because I'm personally not going to be around somebody that doesn't respect me enough to respect the person that I'm with or just respect any of my boundaries. So, I think that's what happened with that. And at some point they may find
Yeah.
themselves back.
Well, do you think Shannon will ever wake up and realize that her issues really lie with Yaz and not with Sailor?
So,
I'm not going to read what I have written down here because it has bad words.
yes, eventually, it's a long road um, for her, but I think that eventually she will realize that it was him all along. It was her all along. Like sometimes you just gotta do the work and like look inward and look at the things that you've done, like the way that you've talked to people, the way that you treated people, just the things that you've done just in general, and realize, okay, it wasn't them, it was me. Like,
Mm,
and then sometimes you just have to, she's going to have to find a way to love herself because right now she's so in love with a man that it made her stupid. Like, she couldn't see beyond the marriage that she wanted to have. And I think sometimes people get caught up in wanting the marriage or wanting the relationship or wanting just whatever they want so badly that they disregard everything else.
yeah. Okay. Well, we're at my next to last question. So, ladies, if you have any more questions in the for AL, drop them in the chat. So since we're talking about Shani, and will we be seeing any more of the supporting characters in upcoming books? Say her brother and Sailor's bestie, maybe. That brunch
Okay,
that brunch bump in was very
okay, listen. I don't want y'all to kill me, okay? But the next person to get a story is Shani. And I made a post, it's so funny. I made a post on Facebook last week
I think she
because
needs some
her
more time on the bench. I think she needs some more time on the bench. I don't mean to interrupt you, and I apologize because that was rude. But um,
listen,
how was she
I
out the
made
psych? How was she out the psych ward already?
it's so funny that I know that you guys just like really, really hate her, but
It's
I
not that we hate
felt
her.
like
It's just that she needs some she needs time out. She needs time out.
she does. She does need a timeout. She needs a lot of stuff. And so I left her story kind of open at the end of her with the idea that I already knew she was gonna get a story at some point. I didn't know what it was gonna be. I didn't know if it was even gonna be a part of, King and Sir. I didn't know. I was waiting on her person to come to me. And he did last week. I made a post about it and they was on my head about it. They don't like it. Nobody likes it.
I'm all for a good redemption tale. I am.
Yep.
I love Nia Forster has by far done one of the best redemption tales that I've ever seen in Wife
Really?
in Mistress Wife Mother. 10 out of 10, top tier. Always here for a good redemption tale. I think because this is just the last book that I've read
Hmm.
that somebody needed redemption. Like I don't have another nemesis in line yet. So
Right.
I'm not ready for her redemption arc quite yet. So I might have to get
It's
somewhere
gonna
else
be,
first and then circle
yeah,
the because I don't think mentally I'm ready to allow her
right.
off the bench. Yeah.
I understand. She is a lot of, she's a piece of work. And I know that. And I know that going into it.
The victimhood, the aggression,
Yes,
the you being a business owner and going to try to ruin another black woman's business. Like I just have so many gripes with her, even outside of the you're being a dumb because your husband is cheating on
right,
you regardless. I think that's why Shiny gets no empathy because it's like it's one thing for you just to be a victim and like your husband's cheating and oh no no no, but
right.
your
She was a
behavior,
villain all the way, she was a villain
attitude.
all the way around.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wish you well in that endeavor. I do. Um, I will revisit that when the people in my head are ready.
I understand. I understand. It's not written there. It's just there right now
For
in the
sir,
draft.
might have to. For sir, if readers had one takeaway from this story, what would you want it to be?
Um, well, as far as like boundaries and stuff, I think that like as we were just talking about Shine, I think sometimes it's okay to put boundaries up, like even for the people that you love. And then I also, as far as the BDSM aspect of it, is that it's a lifestyle, that it's a lifestyle choice, and that is not really always about the sex, or it's not always about the bondage or the spankings or just any of the things that come with the lifestyle. It's not always about that. It's really about consent, and that um we, like we discussed earlier, that we all have kinks. Is just at whatever level it is. And I just think that, I don't know. I just think that I don't want anybody to look at it like it's a bad thing, if that makes sense.
Keep an open mind, folks. You never know. You
Yeah,
might run into somebody who likes something a little different than you, but they might be the one for you.
right.
Stop going on bad dates and just succumb to their kink. You might love it. You might love it.
You might,
Or end up dating it. She said, I love it here. Never leaving. I hope, I will hope that since we had to see so much of Shani and Sir, that we could
Mhm.
see a proposal and possibly a marriage in her book, how we got to see Sailor's brother and his bestie get
Yeah,
married in Sir. I would, if we could get that, I might, it might make it a little bit more palatable.
I got you.
Might make it
I
just
can see it.
because when they were at the wedding, I feel like Malik was ready to propose, and Sailor was like, "I'm not ready yet."
Yeah,
Malik was like, "I'll get on one knee right now. You're looking like you want to be next. I get on one knee." I actually thought, I'm gonna just share this just for the record, because sometimes my when I'm reading, the people in my head they get ahead of me and how the book is gonna go. I actually thought that when they disappeared in Vegas, they were gonna come back married.
they did. So they did. They eloped.
I mean,
So I
I
don't
mean,
know if we,
yeah, but I thought they were gonna
but
like
yeah,
tell everybody like
have
we're
the
moving.
whole. Oh yeah, they haven't told anybody yet. So yeah,
Okay,
but I
we would like to see like an announcement and see like that would be a good way to see if Shani has really grown, because it's like, yeah, well, we're married, and it's like, let's see how she reacts. I don't know.
right.
So okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Like I said, this book was such a great read because it really hit the spot on so many different genres. We had the romance, the drama, the eroticism, and family relationships. Just, I think this was just a well written read. I am glad that I was a part of the target audience for your ads. They're working, and I look forward
Oh,
to more
thank
to
you.
come.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
and for the record, where can our sister girls find you and keep up with you so they can see when Shani's book is released?
Oh gosh. So I am on Facebook, Threads, Instagram, and TikTok, and it's all AL Burke.
All
So
age. Well, that's it for us for this evening, ladies. Thank you for joining us. And if you are watching this at a later date and time, please feel free to leave a comment and we'll try to get back to you. March books announcement is coming soon, and we'll see what we'll get into in March. Have a wonderful evening, ladies. Thank you for joining us. And thank you again, AL, for writing this book and joining us to chat about it this evening.
thank you.